Action.
Action. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the October safety meeting. Hi, Doc. How's everybody? Everybody good? Yeah? Good. Well, thanks for coming. I'm glad it's not too cold now, but it'll probably get there. So quick rundown on the airplanes. As you can see, 28 Fox is down. The alternator is here. So we'll have that back up soon. 60 Romeo's flying good. Nothing to brief. 50 Echo. Nothing really to brief other than the attitude indicator starting to slip a little bit. So as soon as we get that fixed, we will. 84 November is down for the month. No maintenance required, it's just down for the month for insurance. 273 is flying, nothing to brief. 011, the attitude indicator is on order. We're waiting for it to arrive, and it'll be down for the month as well. And 63 Tango, there's nothing to brief on that. So discussion items, once again, if there's anything you can do to take care of your currency for your PIFs or safety grams or anything, please get those done. Quick update for what we did in September. We actually had a really good month in September. We flew 102 hours, and we had 114 instruction hours, and we actually had 62 maintenance hours. So if we're flying more and working on them, it's doing pretty good.
I got a question on 273. I flew that the last time I flew. And it's the only aircraft I've ever had down here when they have the wheels, front wheel shimmies.
Right.
And that was an issue, I remember,
Right.
a year ago, and then something, they straightened it out.
Okay.
And then this time, I landed once, and I had the real bad, scary shimmy. It felt like it was coming off almost. But then I landed two more landings and nothing. Is that, anybody else having a problem with that 273?
We've had more than one person talk about the shimmy damper,
Yeah.
the shimmy, so we actually changed the shimmy dampener.
Yeah.
And if that's not it, then he's gonna go in and take a look at the strut to make sure that the extra metrics are good. And I would say don't land on the nose.
Generally.
So for September, we had 13 flights canceled due to poor weather. And we actually had 5 no-fly days for weather. I actually appointed a few more club advisors because people have moved and other people are too busy. So the new ops advisor is going to be Mr. Jim Friel. He's been a member for the club forever. And our new maintenance advisor is going to be Kyle Wilson, our film guy today. So I'd like to thank those guys for taking the positions. It's a pretty big deal for the Aero Club to have advisors, and the reason I like advisors that are actually active participants in the club is because they get a whole picture of the club and they understand what's going on versus just sitting outside and coming in once or twice every 2 or 3 months. And first of all, you are the first wing-appointed advisor since I've been here at the Aero Club. So I'd like to introduce Mr. Master Sergeant David Story. He's the new maintenance advisor appointed by the wing. Okay, so he's not going to see anything. Oh, okay, so here, come up here, please, sir.
Yeah, I'm glad to have this spot. Fortunate to be able to work with you guys. I always want to come down and see what the Aero Club does. I'm just going to come down and, of course, just advise, just look at the maintenance practices and help the mechanic out where I can. Probably most importantly, just liaise with the maintenance crew and the equipment and the tools that they have over there. We try to get the AFB mechanics access to that so that it can reduce maintenance costs, which will in turn ease the financial burden on the Aero Club. So I look forward to seeing what I can do for the Aero Club.
Welcome aboard. Once again, as always, we have checklists, so please use them. Mainly when you're parking and security, because that's the biggest time I get to see them. If we have tow bars attached, cowl plugs missing. Hey Dave. And so right now, I'd like to have Mr. Casey Mormon give his safety brief.
All right, keep it short and sweet. Had some issues with the live stream, obviously, so you guys that are going to watch there. We'll troubleshoot that over the next month. But topics for the month, we have formation flights. Just a reminder, those aren't authorized unless you have wing commander approval and formation training. So we had an issue with that in the tower. So no formation flights, don't file that way, don't fly that way. So it's not good practice for the club. Refueling procedures. Make sure that you're holding the nozzle when you put the fuel into the aircraft. I've seen a couple occasions, student pilots, qualified pilots, where we're sticking the fuel nozzle into the fuel tank and then setting the lever so that way it'll automatically shut off when it's full, and then just letting it sit there. So that creates hazards both for overflow and it causes stress on the neck of the fuel tank. So we don't want to do that. Make sure you're holding it, maybe hold the hose too, support it all, and make sure that we're not just sticking the fuel nozzle into the wing tank. Flight plans, so that's an ongoing issue, and actually it's something that I'm going to try to address myself. I am tracking, and I need all of your guys' help. Those of you that fly off station to let me know. Kyle had an incident actually with a student where we file with ops, and then the flight plan somewhere in between base operations and flight service doesn't go through. So then you have pilots that want to duplicate flight plans with ForeFlight, which I personally, from a safety perspective, see no issue with. I'd rather have 2 flight plans and somebody know where you're at than you think there's a flight plan and there's not really a flight plan. So if you do have any issues with that, make sure you let me know, and I'm tracking that, and we'll try and attack that issue.
On the flight plans, as of
Yeah.
right now, we're not using it. You said who's ICAO is not being used by the Air Force, right?
The Air Force doesn't use ICAO flight plans, but they do
So
have a DoD
if we want to go off base,
Yep.
we have to make out the regular flight plan, and then
Yep.
we have to take a picture of it or whatever and
Yep.
send it over email to
Exactly,
base
yep.
ops. That's how we have to do it.
Mhm.
So it's the regular flight plan, the old.
Yeah, one set of that.
Yeah, okay.
And unless you're flying IFR, if you're filing IFR, then we can do that through ForeFlight, which has been addressed before. So you file through ForeFlight and then send a copy from ForeFlight to base operations, same email that you're going to take a picture and send it. Another issue that I know they've been having is firewall issues, so personal emails, preferably if you have government email or I know specifically Gmail gets blocked by them sometimes, so always call and make sure that they get your flight plan, but that might be an issue. So the alternative to that would be taking the flight plan over there and just handing it to them, which I know is a pain because they're all the way over there, but we deal with what we got. Complacency is another tower complaint. So just a general reminder, again, I talk about it just about every month. We know we fly at Dover. A lot of people only fly at Dover. We're based here, but when you land runway 1, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a 180 and exit back at Echo. And when you're landing runway 19, that doesn't automatically mean you get a long landing. You're afforded the full length of the runway, but you need to request a long landing if you intend to do so. When you're clear to land, if they don't instruct you, long landing's approved, make sure you request it or make it known that you're going to. Specifically, we've had the issue, and this happened this month. Pilot landed long on runway 19 after the tower controller. Didn't say anything about a long landing. The pilot never asked for a long landing. And then your company traffic that's out doing touch and goes with the student got sent around because we have an aircraft that's airborne through the intersection. So make sure everybody's on the same page, very important, air traffic and pilot-wise. But long landings aren't necessarily automatic, and 180s aren't automatic either. So just to cover up on that, regardless of where you're going, when you land on the runway, you're expected to make the first exit. So that doesn't mean roll to the end and then turn off. It means if you're not instructed otherwise, you land. Once you're under control, you exit. That's the way it is. Questions on that? Nobody? Okay, so that takes care of the tower complaints. Hatters, that was our safety gram this month. Anybody want to talk about hatters? What a hatter is?
Hazardous traffic report.
Not necessarily. So it's more or less a program that's built to identify risks and hazards as they stand, and for us to be able to attack them from a broader perspective and not necessarily pinpoint people, but still address the issue so it doesn't happen again. All right, and last thing, cold weather. I think we talked about, we're going to make a video, hopefully, in the coming weeks of preheating procedures and de-ice procedures. So coming into the cold months, we said last year, dress to egress. So if you're here, it's chilly, make sure you wear a jacket, make sure you bring clothes for the terrain that you're flying in. And SOP was changed for our heating procedures is 40 degrees. So remember that, if it's 40 or lower, make sure you plan on waste an extra 15 minutes so you can heat that oil up before we get started. Last thing here, virtual attendance. So like I said, I've tried to go live and we'll address that over the next month, but due to COVID, if you guys are attending virtually, that's going to count for your credit. So anybody have any questions for the month? Anybody, new members? Here you are. Yeah. Where are you from? Georgia. Okay. Planning on getting a private, or are you already ready? Right on. Right on. You're a new member. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey all, I'm Bobby. My wife is stationed at Fort Belvoir, Virginia. I have a bunch of hours and I've been trying to get my pilot's license forever, and I just heard about the Aero Club, and I thought those weren't around anymore, but pretty glad y'all are here. A little bit of a drive, but I can suck it up just to come out here, finally finish. Hopefully.
Right on. Just glad to have you. Anybody else have anything for the month? No, no takers. All right. It's all yours.
Tag.
All right, well, nobody's got anything, right? All right. Well, the next meeting will be November 10th at 6:30. Unless anybody's got anything. No? All right, we'll see you next month.
November 10th is a Tuesday.
Yep. I hope so. Not unless my calendar's
Peace out,
wrong.
folks.